right, dope. Wow. Here we are. Miguel Carrillo,
Yes.
owner of La Perla Tapatia Meat Market and AKA that Mexican guy. I'm glad that you made it. I didn't realize how close uh where did you come from again?
San Pedro.
San Pedro? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I was gonna say that and I was like, maybe that's the wrong thing. But yeah, I don't know why I thought it was so far. But that's
It's
good, it
not.
wasn't that bad.
You just live far.
Yeah, I live far as fuck from everywhere. But it's good. How's how's everything been like through this time with COVID and everything? I mean, you have like you can order food and have like the restaurant-ish side of it, but then people can also come in and like buy groceries. So are you considered like
It's a meat market.
okay.
Before a restaurant or
Uh-huh.
whatever, it's a meat market. So
Okay.
basically, what it's considered, it's a meat market with a kitchen, not a kitchen with the meat
Oh,
market.
interesting. So there's like classifications for that shit.
Yeah.
So what is like in that specific order, what are the qualifications for that? You have to be like a seller of like
Well,
wholesale meal.
you just you have obviously your seller's permit, but then
Yeah.
you got to get a separate type of permit for hot food.
Okay.
So
Is there any special type of because it's different than like a butcher place, right? You
no,
get oh no no no. So you could do that there too. Is that like a separate thing or no?
no, that's a
Okay.
meat market.
Oh,
A butcher shop meat market is the
so
same
you
thing.
get in like whole animals and
No,
shit,
no, no.
but
So
whole pieces, and then you. Oh,
no, that's not how meat markets work
I'm
anymore.
picturing like wrapping
No,
and
no.
shit. This wasn't
You're
there.
not you're thinking about slaughterhouses.
Oh,
Back in the days, then yeah, meat markets used to
yikes.
work like that. Not anymore.
Okay, okay, okay. So, um, okay, so you have to get something for like hot food, and then what about like the other side? Is that the market side? So it's like meat market. Those are two things that are put together.
It's
Or?
just the same thing. It's like a whole grocery store, I would say.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, because I thought that was cool. You can like go in there and get like fresh stuff, and I don't know. I feel like especially like right now, like you kind of want to know like where your shit is going from.
No, yeah,
You
no, no.
know?
We're
Yeah,
good.
yeah. And then what were those like pastry things?
Conchas.
Yes,
Yeah.
those were bomb. Those were bomb. I've only ever had them when they were like past their prime, and so I never really had a good experience. I was like, okay, Miguel, I'm gonna trust you with this.
So
Uh,
conchas, it's a traditional Mexican bread, like
okay.
super traditional. It's been
Yeah.
around forever. The thing about conchas is just like it's so good when they're coming out,
Mhm.
but after a few hours or so, they're like dry. It's like okay, like
Yeah.
what's it's just nothing about them really sticks out for me personally,
Mhm.
other than the fact that it's a traditional bread.
Yeah.
So we're like when we started making bread, I was like, fuck it, everybody makes conchas the same way.
Yeah.
Like we got to do something fucking different.
Yeah.
And then I had never in my life had I tried Nutella, to be honest. Like
Really.
never. I knew about it and
Mhm.
I knew there was a big hype behind it and
Yeah.
everybody loved Nutella. And I was like, um, let's just stuff it with Nutella.
Fuck it. Might as
Yeah.
well.
And a customer comes in, a customer that I knew, and I was like, hey,
Mhm.
dude, try this,
Mhm.
He says, they're amazing. He took a picture, I posted it, and boom, it just
Boom.
blew up holy shit.
Yeah,
Like
that's crazy.
because you take something so traditional, and
Mhm.
actually what's funny is we got so much hate for it too. Like we would get
Yeah.
hate messages like you're fucking up with tradition. I'm like, dude, just don't eat it. Like
Fucking relax.
what the
Fucking
fuck?
relax.
Like don't eat it. Don't come here if you don't
Yeah.
like it. Like this is obviously not for you.
Human beings are fucking strange that way. You know? They're
But
like,
that's just
whatever.
how it went about.
Yeah.
And it started one flavor, and then we went to like 10 flavors. I was like, all right, this is getting a little too much. Let's bring
Uh,
it back down
yeah,
to
yeah.
just a few flavors.
Yeah. There you go.
But yeah,
That's a cool thing to add because every place has to have their little thing, like that makes you choose to go to that place versus this place.
no, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But they were bomb when I tried them. I had a good
It was
experience.
just they're different. You
Yeah.
you won't expect it because it's not something that you're gonna find. Like I said, a lot of people don't mess with when it comes to especially because Mexicans are so big on tradition.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
don't like messing with it. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
well, to me it's just boring, and you can't give me something without messing with it. And
Yeah.
so we
You're
did
like, I
it.
gotta do it.
Yeah,
Put your little spin on it. But that's dope. That's dope. How long have you been there?
in
At that
San
one?
Pedro, 4 years,
Okay.
going on 4 years.
Okay. And then are there multiple spots?
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of meat markets, but ours, no.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, because I saw like a thing like online that had like a few different locations, but I was like, that can't be the same.
no,
I
no.
don't think it was a meat market. I think it just had the first beginning part of the
Oh
name.
well, so maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's so La Perla Tapatia is a nickname for where we're originally from, which is Guadalajara.
Oh, okay, then that makes sense. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
so it's
Okay.
just
Yeah,
anybody
yeah,
could
yeah.
pick it up, and there's restaurants named La Perla Tapatia, and
Oh, okay.
there's I know a
Got all
bakery.
of them all in that search.
Yeah,
I was
there's
like,
I
damn.
know of a bakery, I
Mm-hmm.
think somewhere in LA named La Perla Tapatia, or La Perla at least. Which
Okay.
just means a pearl.
Okay. There you go. There you go. So 4 years. Have you always kind of been like an entrepreneur type most of your life, or
Eh,
how did
yeah.
you fall into
Well, into the meat market
this?
business,
Yeah, and like,
it's been around our family our whole life.
oh,
My
okay.
my my uncle actually had a meat market.
Mhm.
He since before I was born, I multiple.
Mhm.
So he'd open, sell them, and then
Okay.
and then another uncle of mine actually had a meat market, who I worked for since I was like 12. So
Oh, so you get that inside look on how it runs.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I grew up in it. That's about it.
Okay. And were you always like cooking and being involved in that side of things, or
No, so actually,
okay.
my uncle's meat market didn't have a kitchen, or actually it
Mm.
had one, but it wasn't running.
It's just
The one
hot food?
actually,
Mm.
the meat market that I used to work at when I was 12.
Mhm.
The thing is that for some reason, all food always attracted me. So I remember I used to tell my mom, like when it was lunchtime,
Mhm.
I used to be like, "Mom, how do you make mole?" And she says, "Oh, I'll go make it right now." Like, I didn't ask you to come make it. I asked you to tell me how to make it. And I
Yeah.
would cook for like the butchers. And as a kid, I would cook for them. And sometimes I'd mess up, and sometimes
Mhm.
I'd make a good plate. But I would always mess around with it and just
Yeah.
try to
Oh,
learn how to cook.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then so like did you ever go to school for it or
No,
anything? You just okay, that's the kind of the
no.
cool way to do it, based off of
You know,
just learning from other people.
it's funny you say that because just recently I've been thinking about going back to school.
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? I know how. I mean, I'm not the best at it, but I
Mhm.
know how to make a plate. Like I know how to make a steak, and I know how to make certain things.
Yeah.
But I'm not very good with sides, and
Mm.
I'm not good with appetizers at all because I've never done appetizers, and I'm
Yeah.
not good with desserts because I've never done desserts.
Mhm.
The pastry side of the store, someone else does it. I just give her
Oh,
ideas.
okay,
I
nice,
just
nice.
give her ideas of what to do, but
Mhm.
I've never physically done anything. So like, maybe I know how to. Maybe I need to go back to school and learn something else. I don't know how to. I mean, for me, food is about good taste,
Mhm.
a good flavor, and everything. And I know how to do that, but I don't know how to be all bougie in a fucking plate and put it. That doesn't really attract me per se for me
Yeah.
personally.
Mhm.
But as a business,
Yeah.
especially because we cater, like maybe if I learn how to do that, then I could do like personal chef type of stuff.
Yeah, there you
But I
go.
don't know how to do it. I
Yeah.
don't know how to do that bouginess because it doesn't attract me personally.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it definitely benefits to like increase the variety of dishes, skills, all those things. And sometimes when you see like I don't know, when I'm like learning new things, you see things that you like, that you don't like, and then you kind of incorporate that into your own style. So you could take it back, whatever knowledge that you gain from that, take it back, put your own spin on it like you usually do, you know
No,
what I'm
yeah,
saying? And then,
that's what I do
so it's
anyways.
like, yeah, that's perfect.
I just don't know how to present it, I would say.
Yeah.
And the sides, and like I couldn't do a 3 or 4 or 5 course meal.
Mhm.
I can't. I know how to present you a one meal plate, but that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because it's really an art form.
It is. It is.
Presentation, all that. You be seeing, like, I don't know, I watch like crazy shows sometimes, and it's like this one tiny little, and then it has this. I'm like, what are we doing? This is wild.
No.
And it's,
You see,
It's
what other
so
people find
finessed.
boring, I love to watch. I love
Yeah.
to watch the Travel Channel and just see different foods.
Mm-hmm.
Barbecue pit masters, I love watching them. Sometimes like that, like I just recently, I just finished a show on Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
pitmaster show where they're like, all right, well, these are the ingredients, and you
Mm-hmm.
need to do uh appetizers, main course, and dessert. I'm like, holy shit! If I was presenting that, I'd be lost. I know how
Yeah.
to make the main course,
Mm-hmm.
and that's about it. I get booted right away.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what made me
Yeah.
think like, huh, maybe I need to go back and maybe I actually need to go to school to learn some of these things.
Yeah. Or at least pick up some tips and
Yeah.
tricks if you're already in it, you know?
Well, I feel that in the business, in the meat market business, because everything, I mean, from what I can remember as a kid till now,
Mm-hmm.
everything's changed a lot. And
Interesting.
then as far as in the cooking, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like you got to be open minded because you never stop learning.
Yeah.
Like if you think in these in either one of the businesses that you know it all,
Mm-hmm.
you're absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
Someone always knows more, and you can learn something from someone else.
Oh, of course. Of course. And I think, yeah, once it, like, as soon as you stop learning or stop wanting to learn, you just stop growing and everyone else is growing. They're going to keep going
Yeah.
and keep changing. And, well, earlier you said the meat market has changed over time. Like, how, in what ways has it kind of changed?
Just steaks. Like
Mm-hmm.
for example, nowadays, I've been pushing
Mm-hmm.
my personal favorite cut, which is picanha.
Okay.
Um,
What is that? What type
it's a
of,
Brazilian cut. When I started
okay.
training at Black House in Redondo, like the Brazilians were telling me, like, "Hey, you need to try picanha." I was like, "I've been in the meat market business all my life. What the fuck is
Mm-hmm.
picanha? Like,
Yeah.
what is it? I don't know what it is." Like, they're like, "Look for it," and I
Mm-hmm.
did, and I remember I couldn't get it from like meat distributors, so I would have to come to a company all the way in Vernon.
Mm-hmm.
I get all my meat delivered to me. I always
Mm-hmm.
have, but for picanha, nobody had it,
Yeah.
so I would have to drive to Vernon, pick up the meat, and then bring it back with me. And it was only like one box. I would freeze it, and because it wasn't like a thing, you know.
Yeah.
And nowadays, it's like you see it online. Instagram has changed, and everybody. Uh, it's a cut that people want to try now. Like you see more and more stores having it, but I've been pushing it for 8 years. You know, like nobody
You're
knew
like,
what the
I've been
fuck.
had this shit.
Nobody knew what the
Yeah.
fuck it was.
Yeah.
Like I mean, unless you were Brazilian and Argentinians, because Argentinians like it.
Yeah.
They outside of that, it
You
was
won't
rare that
know.
someone knew what.
Okay.
Even now, it's rare, but more and more people are open to try it. So
Yeah.
everything's changes, and you just got to evolve. Tomahawks. Now you see tomahawks in stores. Back then, a few years back, you didn't see.
Yeah.
You only saw it at high end restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
Now stores have them.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So
That's
there's
interesting.
a few things.
That like trend. I mean, I've never heard of it until you said it just now. But like what cut is that and how is that prepared to make it that?
So
Cuz I'm really confused on how meat and shit works.
picanha is a very particular part of the top sirloin.
Okay. And that's what area? The hind end? The
Uh,
hind quarter?
yeah, it's um
Point of the hip?
I'd show you my phone. Sorry,
Okay.
it would be easier to just
Okay.
watch. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, there we go. We kind of got some stuff up here.
Yep.
That's what it looks.
That
Okay, so
so
what part of the animal is that?
watch. So it's
I'd be
right.
so confused on this shit. Oh my
I
god.
mean it. Oh come on. So it would be much easier to
Mhm.
show you since you don't know
Mhm.
much about meat. You say
Yeah. This fool
comes
got
right
some.
at the top,
Okay.
almost by the butt, basically right here,
Okay. Huh.
and
What cut is that?
it's part of the top sirloin. So picanha top sirloin is a cut, and then you get it from the top sirloin.
Okay.
But it's so
So.
rare because you get that piece,
Mhm.
and basically everything else from the top sirloin goes to waste. So just slaughterhouses didn't like to waste meat. They weren't,
Mhm.
but now it's becoming more and more popular.
So this is. So okay. So in this model right here, that's how they slice and dice the cow in
Mm,
different areas, or
Not
like,
not
where do
necessarily.
they take meat from? I
Well,
don't
from
know.
everywhere.
Okay, but there's certain cuts that yield different things.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. Like,
Okay.
so most of the
Yeah, yeah,
can
yeah.
people see that? Like, are they gonna be visible? No. Oh, okay. Well, you can, yeah.
Yeah.
So most of the popular cuts come from like the rib and the rib skirt. That's where you
Yeah.
get a lot of the main cuts that people look for. You get
Okay.
the ribs, the short ribs, the
And
flank.
that's the
So
expensive ones, or no?
it depends. Like
Okay.
filet mignon is expensive because it's a small piece in the cow. Personally, if you ask me, filet mignon is probably the most overrated steak there is. But that's my personal opinion.
Okay.
Um, so you see there in that image that he's showing
Mm-hmm.
there, you don't see carne asada. Carne asada is basically usually uh, the flat meat. You don't see it there, but it's close to where the flank is at. It's all put together.
Okay.
The reason we don't, as butchers, don't work like that anymore because a whole cow. A lot of people don't know. You know, there's two sides, the left and the right side,
Mm-hmm.
and a whole cow has two pieces of flat meat.
Okay.
At the most, one piece weighs about 5 pounds average. At the most, at the
Okay.
high, meaning, how many cows would you have to bring to get carne asada?
Yeah.
On average, my average customer, when it's low, takes 5 meats, just one person.
Yeah.
So if we would bring the whole cow, we'd have to kill thousands and thousands and
Yeah, to
thousands of
get
cows.
that
Just spend.
specific.
So now, what the way meat markets work,
Mm-hmm.
you order whatever meat you want. Like
Okay.
I order X amount of boxes of
Mm-hmm.
just flat meat, X amount of boxes of just,
Oh,
and they'll bring
okay.
them to you just like that. So
Okay. So then
that's
it's an even amount and you get
correct.
enough to be able to
Yeah,
serve people.
yeah. Because
That's
then
interesting.
if I need I mean, what else am I gonna do with everything else? Not everything is in high demand as
Yeah, as one
certain cuts.
whole.
Correct.
Okay. That's interesting.
So that's what I'm saying.
Mm.
That everything has changed.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I remember growing up as a kid. A lot of these would come in whole and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
now it's like it's a lot of these.
And then you got to figure out how to
Yeah,
push everything
yeah. What
evenly.
am I gonna do
Okay.
with cow heads at the store? Like I'm not gonna sell.
Not a damn
I'm,
thing.
I'm not gonna sell 100 cow heads.
Yeah.
So
Huh.
that's where things change a little bit.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I mean, sometimes I like look up at menus and like I'm like, yo, I don't even know what the difference is between any of them. Like I'm like, I don't even know what animal that is. It's like it's like really confusing the whole thing. But hmm. And then from there, you can prepare it in any way that you see fit, or do you kind of go by? Well, obviously, like the stuff in your store that pushes fast. Obviously, you're gonna do more of that, or like, are
Well,
you known
if you're
for?
talking about a Mexican meat market,
Mhm.
um, to know if you're doing good, your carne asada should be your top selling steak
Okay,
because that's
that's
what
what I've been hearing. Carne asada.
yeah,
It's
it's
way
what
to go.
it's well, carne asada just means grilled meat basically,
Yeah.
right? It's not a specific cut of meat; it's
Yeah.
just grilled meat.
Hmm.
But I mean, the appropriate term for it, the correct term for it, it's flat meat.
Okay.
That's usually what
Hmm.
because carne asada could be anything basically.
Yeah.
But
Huh. So when you go places and you get like tacos or something from somewhere, it's important to know if their carne asada is done a specific way. Because I've been experimenting with that lately, and I feel like I've been getting different shit. And I'm
not
like,
really. I mean,
it tastes
it's
different.
not. Well, obviously, everybody has their different flavor
Mixed, yeah,
seasoning.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
So
you're not always going to get the same thing. Not only that, but there's again, it comes down to carne asada. It could be any cut of meat. They could either be using a good piece of meat on the cow,
mm-hmm.
or which is a cheap one, or I mean, an expensive one or a cheaper one. Not only that, but a lot of people think because let's say ribeyes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just go for something that's common to people.
Okay.
Ribeyes aren't all the same. People don't understand that. Like you could go to a big store and get ribeye at $3.99 a pound, and then you could
Yeah.
get ribeye with me $17 a pound. You'd be like, whoa, I just saw it over here. But there's grades of meat. It just because it's
So are
ribeye.
those the buffer ones?
No, just because
Or
it's ribeye doesn't mean it's all the same. There's grades within meat. There's
yeah.
brands. There's grades.
But I mean, like size wise, like is the bigger ones the better ones, or like the
Not
fitter ones? Do they
no, not
run them?
necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what determines a grade of meat? Well, obviously you'd have like a free range.
That's not,
Is that
those
different?
aren't great. So those are just free range or grass fed.
Okay.
So you have, how can I put it to you to
Well, is
explain?
one better than the other or no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
grades. That's why there's grades.
Okay.
So it starts with regular, and there's select, then
Okay.
there's choice, and then you
Mm.
have your prime.
Okay.
Prime meat is at the top of the
Is that
scale.
when they say prime rib or prime no, or
No,
that's
yeah,
a whole different?
prime. You have prime short rib, prime carne
Okay.
asada, prime tomahawks,
Okay.
prime
Oh,
ribeye.
now I know what to
See,
order.
so like the meats with me, it's all
Okay.
prime. But you probably won't go to a taco shop and get prime meat
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah, it'd be so 100.
know.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. So within each one, like, okay, when you get it, like, do you inspect it to make sure that it's like,
Well,
uh,
that's what the USDA exists for. There's the
they have to do
USDA.
it before you get it?
Absolutely,
Okay,
yeah.
and when you get it?
USDA is
All up in the mix.
they're inspectors
Yeah.
basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah. They do. You can't. We can't do the inspection. It's too
Yeah.
much to do. That's what.
So every time you make an order, is it already done before you do it, or when you get it in, and then you have the person from the U.S. wherever the fuck,
No,
and then they.
USDA doesn't come from my distributor. The USDA is at the slaughterhouses.
Oh, okay, so it's like one step
Yeah,
for
it's like
closer.
way behind. Yeah,
Oh, okay, okay, interesting.
like they can't leave the slaughterhouses without being USDA inspected.
Okay, I mean that makes sense. Look at them.
Yeah.
Taxes, how does it work?
So it
Maybe.
is. It is pretty. It's
Yeah.
very regulated. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I never knew. It's starting to come together a little bit because I feel like sometimes I'd like, especially when you're like looking at like a thing like at a grocery store, it seems to not really make sense. Like I'd rather like it made more sense when I came into like your store. I was like, oh, okay, like this is interesting. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, and seeing all the people like order their specific things, I'm like, I don't know. This is eating my shrimp salad behind the bar, which is fucking bomb, by the way. Hella bomb. Yeah, I've been on a shrimp kick lately.
But you're eating meat now.
Yeah, I'm about to tip the scale fully. It's wild. It's wild. Do you have people that come in that are on like carnivore diets?
Yeah.
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 What do they get? Like what does that look like?
Meat.
I mean, but like do they get specific ones or like
Everybody's different.
yeah.
Everybody's different.
Hmm.
I mean, everybody's on that keto trip right now. I feel
Yeah.
so.
Have you noticed an influx
As far as,
since the keto thing came around or
yeah, very uneducated, but yeah,
just get everything. I don't
yeah,
give a fuck. You're like, yeah, get
yeah,
everything.
sure. But
Okay.
yeah,
Oh, that's cool. You didn't have to shut down or anything during this time,
no,
right?
fortunately, no. So COVID, when COVID hit,
Mm-hmm.
catering fucking died for like 2 months. Everybody canceled, which I was like, whoa! It
Yeah, yeah,
happened
yeah.
at
That's a
the
big amount.
yeah, especially during the time that it happened.
Yeah.
It was, that was like prime graduations,
Summer,
and
yeah. Weddings.
the summer was coming, and so a lot of money was lost. A lot of money was
Oh, I
lost
can
right
only
there,
imagine.
and I was bummed out.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody started calling me, and like everybody was tripping out. Everybody's calling me and like
Mm-hmm.
canceling left and right. I was like, oh man. But then I didn't expect it, but
Mm-hmm.
the sales at the store just went up
Mm-hmm.
like crazy. I mean, there was times we're getting like deliveries every single day. Like
Mm-hmm.
our meat distributors don't even work on the weekends, and they were working on the weekends. Like just
Damn.
the demand was like crazy,
Yeah.
and we're like, holy shit. I mean, fortunately, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, now I could say fortunately, catering kind of canceled because it
Yeah.
would have been a little overwhelming to just do
Yeah.
everything. We're
Yeah.
working long hours. We're working hard. Like you guys have no idea how hard we're working. It was rough because
Mm-hmm.
people were not eating, but they're hoarding, and
Yeah.
like everybody thought there was like, the TV started freaking people out. Like, oh, there's gonna be a meat shortage. I'm like, I would try to tell my customer, like, dude, like, relax. There's no meat shortage.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck the TV's telling you, the media's telling you,
Yeah.
it's a fucking lie. whatever Ralph's is telling you, like limit 2 per person, or Costco. I don't know why the fuck they were doing that, to be honest.
Because motherfuckers were going in there and cleaning them out.
Me,
And they
me,
couldn't order fast enough. I think that's what it
me as a
was.
business,
Mm-hmm.
I, why would I want someone? Why would I want to limit my customer? Take it all. I don't care. I'll call and order more. I mean,
They
it's a
don't think
sale.
like that. They move slow.
At the end of the day, it's a sale.
Yeah.
Like, jump on it.
Yeah.
You want to buy everything? Sure. Why not? I'll order more.
Yeah.
But there were panicking people out.
Yeah.
Telling them that, oh, you can only buy 2, and then the only reason I feel that they're taking long to restock is because people were buying so much. They started panicking. They started seeing this. They started seeing TV.
Mm-hmm.
The radio was telling us that there was never a shortage.
Yeah.
It was hard for us to get it, and it was delayed
Yeah.
because of how high the demand was.
Yeah.
But it's not that there was ever a shortage.
Yeah.
That's
kind of what I thought too. I was like, it's just the front line. You know what I'm saying?
It was crazy.
It's not like deep. It's just the front line.
It's I mean, the easiest way to just put it, it's like, think of you juggling 2 balls, and all of a sudden they start throwing another and another and another.
Like, hey, motherfucker, cut
You're
that shit
not
out.
going to be able to keep up.
Yeah.
No matter how good you are at
Yeah.
juggling balls, you're not going to be able to keep up,
Yeah.
because they're throwing everything at you. It's the same thing. People were buying, so
Mhm.
we couldn't keep up. That's
Yeah.
that's what made it seem like it was a shortage, because people would come in and it was empty, but there wasn't never a shortage. It was just people were buying so
Yeah.
much, they were freaking out.
Yeah, and like how many times do you place an order? Like how many times, or at least the bigger, like, or like the Ralphs or the grocery stores and all the toilet paper like flying off the shelf, it's like how many times do they have to order that? Now they got to look back, okay, now we got to order sooner, probably more frequently. I feel like it's just something like that. And for those big corporations to kind of turn the wheel and start doing that, it's like,
What's crazy is, I think that was they freak people out with that because it's controlled.
yes.
Like,
Yeah.
when it comes to that side of business, it's hard. I can't
Mhm.
do anything because my relationship with the people that sell me bleach.
Yeah.
I go to the big stores and buy bleach, to the wholesale big stores and buy the
Yeah.
bleach and the toilet paper. They're not as good as the relationship I have with my meat distributors, which have been
Yeah.
around forever. I've known them forever,
Mhm.
and I have really good one-on-one relationships with the actual owners. So it was easy
Mhm.
for me to get meat. But when it comes to like getting bleach and toilet paper, that shit, I was sold out. I
Yeah.
couldn't get it myself,
Yeah.
because my relationships aren't there. So they have us held, we're tied. Like, we
Yeah.
can't do
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
about it. Like, maybe
Yeah.
if I had better relationships with people that make the bleach, then I'd be like, all right, cool, no problem. There's no shortage. But
Yeah.
it's not like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting how that whole thing worked. I was listening to Joe Rogan, as I usually am. And he had someone on, they were talking about especially what panicked people and what caused people to like buy toilet paper was like his theory was because toilet paper takes up so much room on the shelf, even if someone goes in there and buys 10 of them, say, of all the same brand,
It's
it
empty.
looks like a huge,
Yeah.
And so people were freaking out. And I was like, damn, like, it was just such a strange time. And I don't know. Well, I live by myself in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like, I had toilet paper and I didn't even have to buy it until like when everything was restored, I'm like,
Yeah.
how much toilet paper do you need, really?
I'm the same way. I had a pack that had been there for months, and it lasted me for months. It probably still have the same pack.
Yeah.
But I feel like the people that were hoarding the toilet paper that were then trying to sell it outside their houses, I'm like, I hope your house is humid and that shit catches mold, because you guys were the problem right here. I was like,
Yeah.
I really hope your toilet paper goes bad.
Fuck. I mean, a lot of them couldn't even return it. There was like this article I was reading where a dude tried to turn like 10K worth of fucking toilet
Yeah.
paper back, and they were like, nah,
No,
fool.
you're
It's fucking final.
Yeah, 10K. If you got 10K worth of toilet paper at your house, you're a piece of shit.
Bitch,
Unless
you can afford to just take that L.
Yeah, unless you have a business and you're trying to sell it. Like, dude, I couldn't. Now it's hard for me to buy gloves. Like, we wear gloves to deal with the meat,
Mhm.
and just because everything got so crazy, it's even hard for me to even buy gloves. I have
Yeah.
like why are people doing this?
Yeah.
Like,
You're
it's
fucking
crazy.
everything up.
Yeah. So, yeah, whoever that 10K person was. Like, I hope
You're
that
a
shit goes
dick.
back. Yeah, you're an asshole.
Yeah, you're a dick. But at the time of when the shutdown was like officially released and shit, like, um, I was like a personal assistant for like this woman that owns like multiple beauty businesses. And like we kind of shut down for a little bit and then we were like kind of back because she had certain procedures that were like deemed medical. Like as far as like I don't know, but it was shit like I don't really know anything about like lashes and fucking lipo laser. I was like, bruh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not very like girly or into like shit that's like that. I'm like, okay, I guess I could go to the gym and like eat right. You know what I'm saying? I could do that. But like, I don't know. At the time, it was like, um, I remember it just like shutting down. I was like, oh, like I get to go home now. I get to, I don't know. It's just a very weird thing. But people were coming in and fucking stealing our toilet paper
It
from
was
our fucking
crazy.
bathroom.
Oh, it's
And I was
crazy.
like, yo, I was like, don't tell me what's in your fucking purse shaped like this is hella motherfucking toilet paper that I knew I hid because she told me to hide it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, damn, they're
No,
really.
it got crazy. I mean, fortunately for me, I mean, I have great customers, and
Mm-hmm.
it didn't get crazy like at
Mm-hmm.
all. When people started looting the business and stuff like that, I remember the police department. They would like come down and be like, "Hey, they're gonna hit San Pedro. They're potentially gonna hit. We're notified that they're gonna hit San Pedro.
Yeah.
So just be careful." So
Mm-hmm.
we didn't board up the windows or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, fuck them. If they want to come over here and loot the business, I'll be waiting for them.
No.
Um,
Fuck these guys.
I just sent
People.
everyone home early that day,
Yeah.
and some two friends came over. Brian,
Mm-hmm.
one of them,
Mm-hmm.
came over and stayed there with me. Um, but and but everyone, like even the community, they're like, hey, dude,
Mm-hmm.
if you need anything, let us know. Like
Yeah.
we got your back or anything. So, but nothing happened there, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was banners going into San Pedro saying, "You loot, we shoot." Like banners
Yeah.
coming into the freeway because it's like a little island. You
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
freeways that lead, or like uh, don't try here. San Pedro protects their own and stuff like that. So nobody even dared to go in there. So it was
Yeah.
like it was cool,
That's the way that it should
to
be.
see the community come together. It's like,
Yeah.
why would you guys destroy small business in general? Like, why would you?
People are fucking angry and they just do shit. They just follow. They have
Yeah,
this like mass minded mentality. Because I think that's one thing too. That's one thing that I noticed when I was in there. It's a very like um it's the place that you go, like it's part of your community. It's part of your kind of
yeah.
upbringing, your circle. Everyone in there talks to each other
Well,
and it was like,
that's
you know,
that's what small business do for your
yeah.
community and for you, especially if you're an outsider to just come and fucking break into it just because
Yeah.
you're a dick and
And do what?
an opportunist of that. Like,
Dude, I don't know. That made me so mad. I was like, damn, you've never built anything, have you? You've never built
I
anything in your life
you
to
know
go in
what?
and
I
destroy.
actually got into it with someone I knew. They're like, "You're so small minded, and it's just the business. You're gonna insurance is gonna cover it." I was like, "You're a piece of shit if you think that."
You ignorant bastard.
Yes, I was like, "Why?" First of all,
Like, you're just saying
I was
words.
like,
Shut
"We
the
have
fuck up.
nothing to blame for this shit.
Yeah.
Like, why would I even like? You don't understand. Like, I don't think people realize how much work is put into a
Mm-hmm.
business, especially a small business. Mind you, when I went in there, that shit was probably a negative numbers. That business was
No.
probably a negative numbers. Now, it's profitable business, and
Yeah.
but it took me a long time. Like I
Mm-hmm.
would work there from 5:30 in the morning till 7 at night. That's actually why I stopped training because I was
Mm-hmm.
working long hours out, and then
You
I
had to
was getting really
build.
tired.
Mm-hmm.
And build it and build a relationship with the community. I was new. I had to
Yeah.
build a relationship. I had to bring something good for them.
Mm-hmm.
You want to bring a good product for them. Like
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. So it's your livelihood.
Yeah.
So for someone to come destroy your livelihood just because they
Yeah.
have a point that supposedly they want to prove, no, you're a fucking dick. Like why
Yeah.
why would you do that?
Yeah. It's it's a kind of wild because it's like in that sense, right? You've completely set back your community. So who's going to suffer? You. Nobody else.
Yeah.
Like these bigger corporations, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
You're destroying like shit that like, like that you need. You need this shit.
People don't know, like I had a comment said to me like, that was someone's life. This is a business. You could restore business, you can't restore life. Yes, it was someone's life that people were protesting for it. And I'm all for protest. You know, you want to
Mhm.
protest and make a point,
Mhm.
that's fine. That's
Yeah.
that's your right.
Yeah.
But breaking into someone's business, like you want to break into my business, that's my life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
It is a
taken.
life.
It's like people don't realize. Like I wake up really early, I go to sleep really late.
Mhm.
It's my life. This is
Yeah.
I'm married to my job. You know, like
Yeah.
this is my life. So you want to destroy it, you're practically killing me. Like
Yeah.
who knows if I could have recovered from it. You know,
Mhm. Your life's work.
there's a lot of places that didn't recover from it. There's a lot of
Mhm.
places that weren't broken into and still didn't recover. Like they had
Yeah.
to shut down, and
Yeah.
it's
It's very traumatic. It's kind of a traumatic time for the small businesses and like the entrepreneurs that are really risking it all to start something. Like it's not like it's like they get these huge grants to
no.
start. They save for years and years of doing the 9 to 5 and saving and maybe adding in hours after that. Like it takes a lot to like actually have like an establishment, especially something to do with food. That's
It
a
it,
very hard
it,
industry.
it, it takes a lot, and um, they say 90% of small business don't make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a long
It's yeah,
process.
it's definitely a long process. That's so crazy.
The failure rate on small business is big, especially
Mhm.
and that was back a long time ago. I would only imagine now.
Yeah. Dude, it was something like 40% of like all businesses, like all small businesses or something are like going under.
Yeah, well, I've seen
Or at
more
the
than that.
beginning
I've
of
seen more
COVID.
than that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
because
sad to see the gyms go and like the gyms shut down when it's like, dude, we need to that needs to be a really important thing. Like they should be bailed out. Like I don't know. I mean, at least in like for like the mixed martial arts or the combat sports world, it was really fucking heartbreaking to see some of these gyms go down.
I've seen gyms, I've seen barber shops,
Yeah.
I've seen flower shops,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen restaurants. A
Yeah.
buddy of mine had a restaurant, and he closes down as soon as COVID hit. He says, "Dude, what do you want me to do? It's dead."
Yeah, they said to the way or like on a Joe Rogan podcast, I'm sure. They were talking about like the checks and balances for a restaurant that serves food to
It's a lot.
stay open. It's like, dude, the margin is very slim that you can't survive 8, 9 months
No.
with nothing.
So when COVID hit, the first thing I like building relationships with
Mm-hmm.
everyone I deal with. You know,
Yeah.
whether you're my customer, I like building a relationship because I'm gonna have to deal with you.
Yeah.
My
Smart man.
my banker is really cool with me.
Mm-hmm.
So when COVID hit, he started hitting me out like, "Hey, dude, apply for the loan." I was like, "But I don't need it." He says, "Apply for the loan. Like
Yeah.
whether you need it now or not, just apply for it."
Yeah.
So I did. I listened to him, and I
Mm-hmm.
applied for the loan. And let me tell you, I didn't get shit. I didn't get
Yeah.
one penny. I
Yeah.
didn't get one penny for the business. I didn't get
Mm-hmm.
one penny for the personal. Nothing. So people think it's easy. It's
Yeah.
not that easy.
Yeah.
It's
Well, and there's a lot of people too that are kind of faking the system, and the way that they handed out the money was very strange as well. And you're like, okay, like this is the moment where you're like, fuck, the leadership really matters,
yeah. But the
because
leadership
this
was
doesn't
taking
make any
money.
sense. Yeah, it doesn't make
I
any sense.
mean,
They're
I don't know how
paying
the governor
themselves
got a
first.
loan for his winery, I believe it was,
Dude,
or
he
some shit
needs to
like
shut
that.
that shit down. You need to fund that yourself, sir. You know? We know that you get bonuses. We know that, you know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
was
Like,
like,
bro,
okay,
that looks bad. Who the fuck is your PR? You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, you can't be doing that
So
shit.
it wasn't as easy as people thought it was. I
Yeah.
mean, fortunately, I didn't need it,
Yeah.
but let's say I did.
Yeah.
I didn't get it, so
Yeah. You would have been fucked.
yeah, I would have.
God damn.
And then looters trying to break in, I would have been really screwed.
Yeah. That's such a strange mentality. Like, what are you gonna steal? The food, bitch? What the fuck? Like, break into a bank where the fucking money is, bitch. What the fuck are you doing? Like, you're trying to end the. I don't know. I get it. I get it, but I don't get it. But I'm glad we're slowly coming out of it. I don't know. For me, my life was fucking over when the UFC canceled that very first event. I was like, no. I was like, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it, and then it just didn't happen. I was like, damn.
Well, there was a lot of cancellation. I mean, earlier we were just talking
Mhm.
how my buddy that has a PCW
Mhm.
had to cancel all his events, and
Yeah.
that canceling of events led to
The fucking demise of the whole shit.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting though is like in an interview I think that Dana White maybe had done or an article that was released, I don't know, don't quote me on this. But it was like um he was talking about how they took the outline of what WWE was doing as an entertainment
Hmm.
business, wrote up this shit, pitched it to the States. Florida was the first one that said, yep, okay, let's do it. And then they got on as like an entertainment and not like a sport or some shit. And then after the UFC kind of did it, then all the other sports were able to like, okay, file as like an entertainment company or whatever. I don't know if the WWE did they survive or like how did that
WWE
work?
were smart. I think there for a while they were like
Mhm.
the only thing that people could watch.
Yeah.
I know they did like a bubble in Florida. Well, I mean, not a literal bubble, but
Mm.
something in Florida
Okay.
where they had all their fighters and they were just doing like basically I think it was like a gym,
Mm.
and that was it. And but hey, they're doing it. And so the first time I saw fans on like TVs
Yeah.
was through WWE.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's the first time. I mean, I don't know if they were the first people that actually did it, but the first
Mhm.
time I saw it
Yeah.
was in a WWE, what they call a WWE network,
Mhm.
and it was like, oh, that okay, you
Mm.
know.
All right.
But then the
Yeah.
NBA did it, and I
Mhm.
think some who else did something like that.
Um I'm not sure.
I know the
A few
NBA did
other
it,
sports.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then baseball kind of did the same thing with the
They
cardboard
well,
boxes and with the
yeah, I
pictures.
don't know. I was like, yo, okay, I know you want to be the first one doing it, but don't do that. You
The
know?
cardboard boxes, okay.
No, I was like, cool. And then I don't know the NBA thing with the faces. I was like, that's cool. Like I see how they're like getting, people and celebrities and stuff into it, but like that's kind of weird. Like you're paying extra money to watch the same thing that you would be watching anyways.
Well, that's what the WWE did. They
Oh,
had fans, and I guess they would just hop on
gotta have a fan base.
their their computer, and
Yeah,
they'd come out live. I
there you
mean,
go.
you want to really come out live that bad, then
Then you're gonna
yeah,
do it. I mean, fuck. Last weekend was that Halloween? 2 weekends ago?
yeah.
They had the first crowd in boxing for the Trevante Davis Leo Santa
But
Cruz
but I
fight.
thought they already had fans like in Florida, I believe,
I don't know. I don't
because I was in
I mean,
Texas,
maybe
right?
it was a different show or something.
Though,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know, but it was the first one that I watched that had crowd noise, which was interesting to me.
Yeah.
I was like, this sounds weird now. I can't hear everything. Like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I'm going to kind of miss that
It's
a
funny.
little
It's
bit.
funny you say that. I saw a UFC fight where the
Hmm.
commentators were, being commentators like,
Yeah.
oh, he's going for this. Oh, he's doing this.
Hmm.
And one of them was like, I think we need to talk with lower voices. Like the fighters could actually hear us.
Yeah, the very first ones. Yeah, and I think I remember like Carla Esparza saying something like, "Oh, I could hear DC talking about the wrestling part or something like," and I was like, "Damn,
No,
okay."
I remember. I don't know what fight, what event, but I
Yeah.
remember the one of the commentators like, I think we need to talk lower. Like the fighters
Yeah.
are acknowledging what we're saying.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe they
yeah.
were moving position or whatnot, but
Yeah.
they were like they could hear us.
Yeah. I wonder how they figure that out, the USC, where they put them,
Huh,
you know?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Who knows? Dana White has his ways. Dude, if he was running for president, I'd fucking vote for him. I don't give a fuck. He'd get shit done. I don't care what your feelings
Smart,
are.
smart guy.
Oh my
I mean, he
God.
could be a dick, but he's a smart guy.
Dude, he's done so much for the sport and just creating that elitism, of the UFC, which is fucking, I don't know. I think it's really cool. I think his strides have like done leaps and bounds alongside boxing, which is kind of pushing boxing.
Yeah,
I think it's starting to push the industry a little bit more because they be kind of moving a little slow,
I
you
think
know?
you. I mean, personally speaking, UFC is a lot more interesting than boxing is.
Mm. Well, I think it's like the sport itself of MMA. It's like more exciting. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh
Yeah,
my God, is he gonna get head kicked or something? You know, there's more ways to win, and it's,
it's more
you know,
violent, which people like.
yeah. And I think now, like, I don't know if you saw the Teofimo Lopez Lomachenko
I
fight.
did not.
Okay, so I don't know, like, in boxing, kind of the fad, I guess you could say, that kind of came along with Mayweather was that O thing. So then people started to kind of focus more on building fighters to be like undefeated or whatever, and not building them to be like, I mean, a lot of them, most of them are bad motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? But like, Teofimo Lopez did that on his 16th fight. Usually you would see people that are fighting for championships like later
Yes.
on.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
want
yeah.
to build them so much. And I was like, bro, like they take so many hits. Most of them spar 3 times a week, hard sparring. And they're gonna go through 10 rounds against a B-side opponent that's like nobody knows who it is. You know, like I want to see motherfuckers fight each other. And that's what they do in the UFC, you
Yes,
know?
UFC definitely.
There
Like,
wouldn't be no fucking like in the last night's card, there's a dude, Giga Jikatse, he fought Jamie Simmons, who was like last minute replacement UFC debut, or was like fucking he was like he was like minus 900, I think was the Vegas odds. That's very rare.
wow.
That's very rare in UFC to see such a heavy favorite. It's very rare. Usually they're a little closer, whether it's, I mean, depending on how
This
much
was
money.
last weekend, right?
Last night,
Was it
right?
last night?
Yeah.
I thought I
Yeah.
saw one with the odds were crazy last weekend.
Um, maybe there is some crazy odds in Bellator too. I was like, God damn. But it's very rare. Like in boxing cards, they'll all be like that. I'm like, bro, I don't want to see that shit. You know, I want to see some shit where they have a chit. Like, I want to see them get in there and get better faster rather than prolonging the career, take more hits, you know, do whatever. Like, I want to see you fight somebody that is your level or better, not 2 steps below you. And I understand building a fighter is a lot different, and you need to give boxers certain looks. You do have to. It's you have to build them more. I feel as a professional, but it's like, dude, a lot of these people have like 300 amateur fights.
I,
If you're not ready to bang, bro, what are we doing?
I feel that's where the saying "you fought a taxi driver or tomato can" comes from, because it's. I remember as a kid back in the days,
Mhm.
like there was boxing was the thing. You know, UFC wasn't
Mhm.
around,
Yeah.
but there was one particular fight where they said that the boxer that was fighting that night was a taxi driver.
Damn.
So
You're like,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like, they do well to I understand what they're doing. I think they move a little bit too slow, and then the UFC is starting to figure out how to build fighters within the company because they started doing it too fast. And I think they were looking kind of towards the boxing model in a way on how to bring up a fighter and develop them within the UFC without it being like, bro, this fool doesn't belong here, you know, because sometimes I'd see that a lot. Some people coming off the Contender Series, I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, oh, their next fight is like a not fucked up fight. And I was like, okay,
but
they like this guy. They want to
but
build
I
him.
mean, you know MMA, like
Hmm.
there's levels to game.
Yeah, yeah,
You could be
yeah.
really good
True.
on your local fight scene,
Yeah.
but then you go to a different state
Hmm.
and you're like average.
Yeah.
So it's, you know,
Yeah.
there's levels. I've seen some fights where, and I know some guys are like,
Yeah.
damn, like they come and they're like zero record,
Yeah.
and then they come to here. I've seen people at LFA
Hmm.
or it's LFA now, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
LFA, and they get to LFA and they're like, that zero record didn't matter anymore. It's like,
Yeah. It
dude,
doesn't matter. And I feel like in MMA, there's a slight more respect for the fighter. Like just because there's so many different arts and like a lot
yes,
of the arts are very humbling and there's more understanding for them. Like in boxing, the pressure to be a boxer is something else entirely. You know, like to go in there and to be expected to win. And I think boxing is a beautiful sport, don't get me wrong, you know, but I think the politics have too much of a hand in it and they don't give the fighters enough credit for what they do, you know? Like what are you afraid of? Fight them against somebody real. They want to figure out who they are just as much as You know, you want to see a good fight. And I feel like those are the good fights where you really see like people fucking change in there. And obviously people are different every time they step in there, I can only imagine, but I want to see the fights that are name versus name, pound for pound. They're as good as their opponent, or their opponent is as good as them. You know, like this is not a game. You know, like don't go out there and face somebody and potentially take damage for somebody that's not even fucking worth it.
I've seen some of those no names surprise people though, and
Bro, and they'll fucking lose the decision
MMA.
because the whole shit is corrupt.
Yeah, no, I've seen.
In boxing.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
fuck.
in MMA,
Yeah.
like I've seen
It's
some
a
of
beautiful thing.
those no names, like nobody
Yeah.
knew. Like, oh, okay, he has a few losses in his record,
Mhm.
and then you come here like, yeah, dude, but who was he fighting? Who did he
Yeah,
lose
yeah.
to? Like these guys
What
are
happened?
surprising. Like,
What happened in the fight? Like each fight is a story, whether it's 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, whatever. Like there's a story there. Like you can't just look at the record and see, oh, unanimous decision,
no,
whatever. Bro, he could have gotten robbed. You
no,
could have you gotta be
yes,
there. You know, you
yes,
gotta
or
see.
it could have been, you know, in MMA. There's so many things that could be wrong. Like,
Oh my god.
it's slip of an arm and you get caught in an armbar, but you were
Yeah.
beating the guy's ass
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
fight.
The whole time.
Yeah, so it's like you and I feel the way you look at MMA is a lot different than boxing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it has to be in a way because I think, okay, the only other really big combat sport that we have out here to compare MMA to is boxing, but they are very, very different. Like, as
Absolutely.
far as the industries, the people in the industries, the training, the how deep seated the culture is. They're very completely, they're two different sports. So comparing them doesn't really make a whole lot of sense if you've been embedded in boxing and seen what it is and knowing the characters, because it's different than
It's
MMA.
funny you say that because when I started training,
Mhm.
it was guys that came in, being all cocky because they had a few fights in boxing amateur.
Yeah.
I mean, respect to anyone that even trains.
Yeah.
That even trains.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was told by Mike Safai. I don't know if you know who Mike Safai is. Brian's strength and conditioning coach.
Okay.
The guy, I was like, he told me one day a long time ago. He says, "Dude, even if you train, you're not average."
Dude,
Like,
the gap between an amateur fighter or just someone that takes their first amateur fight or second amateur fight and someone on the street is fucking huge.
yeah,
People don't fucking understand
yeah.
that.
He explained it perfectly. It's like
Yeah.
the guy is. He's a really smart guy. Like if you
Mhm.
talk to him, you have a conversation. He's a
Mhm.
very smart guy. He brings a lot of knowledge to
Mhm.
whatever the fuck he does. So back then is when I was like really training like every day and
Mhm.
going to sparring and this and that. So he tells me, he says, the fact that you, because I forgot what the conversation was, but he says the fact that you even train, you need to understand you're not average.
Yeah.
The average person does not like to get punched in the face,
Mhm.
does not
Yeah.
like to get choked out or
Yeah.
armbarred or whatever. He says, but and it's true. So one day, you got to respect anyone that even trains.
Oh,
You
for sure.
you look at people different. I trained for a long time, for like
Mhm.
5 or 6 years,
Mhm.
um, and I never not once stepped in a foot in the cage. So for people to even fight amateur, my hat's off
Dude,
to
it's
them.
fucking crazy.
Yeah, my hat's off to them. People that go pro and make it, even more respect to
Yeah.
them. But there was this guy that I remember that fought amateur boxing. He had a few
Mhm.
fights under him, and he walks into a gym walking
Mhm.
tall because he had a few fights. Cocky motherfucker,
Yeah.
comes into the gym, and I remember he got his ass handed to him.
Mhm.
Mind
Yeah.
you, you're good with your hands, but MMA is a complete different ballgame.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's completely different. Like, okay, so never mind like takedowns. The ability to take a leg kick.
exactly. I was just gonna tell you that.
Your fucking balance and the way you
Yes.
throw things changes. It's
That-
dude, it's different.
I was just gonna tell you that. Like the guy was. Don't get me wrong. You saw him, hitting the bag, and you were like, "Holy shit!" This guy's.
Yeah, this fool's cracking.
Yes, but as soon as we actually started sparring,
Yeah.
you get tunnel vision
Yeah.
to the legs.
Yeah.
Like you take his legs out, he doesn't even want to get close to
Yeah.
you.
And you learn to see different shit. Things come from different angles. You can't bob and dip and
No,
go down as
you
far
go
as you
down far,
think.
you're gonna get head kicked.
Yeah, so it's a different thing. Like your body has to, you have to learn new reactions, learn new motor skills.
It's funny you said, because every time when I do watch a boxer and I see that they like leaning forward and coming down, I was like, oh my god, you do that to an MMA fighter, you're gonna get a knee to the fucking face.
You do that in a real fight,
you're gonna get a knee.
Yeah,
it's like
it'll be bad.
You're asking for a knee to the face.
But good thing they don't have to worry about that, because that's a good maneuver.
No,
like
absolutely.
The people that can actually have that top maneuverability, like in their top torso, I'm like, god damn, you know, like I don't know, it's interesting. But even people that are coming from like kickboxing too, you know, it's a different thing. I was talking to somebody about because that was when the time I was just starting to know, okay, the different striking styles and how they come into MMA. Like say if you have a Muay Thai fighter coming into MMA, their striking is not that great. You know what I'm saying? Their hands are not great if you're talking about just like a straight, like a against a boxing style or a kickboxing style. You know, their primary thing is the legs. The elbows, you know what I'm saying? The in closer quarters. Yeah. So it's interesting to see someone, I was asking a fighter the difference between, okay, what is your main difference between a kickboxer facing a kickboxer in sparring versus facing like a Muay Thai person, right? Because it both like kicks, whatever, no elbows or knees in the that one, or a certain limited amount. And he was saying that the hips of a Muay Thai fighter are stronger, he found, and they were way harder to take down than a kickboxer. And I was like, huh, that's interesting.
Well, they balance. I feel like they balance a lot in one leg.
Like their stance too.
Their stance balance along
and
one
theirs
leg.
more is bouncy, like a kickboxing in and out
Correct.
style. That's interesting.
I feel like kickboxers are a little more similar to karate, maybe.
Yeah.
Like you know, not necessarily karate.
Yeah, but a little bit more bladed.
Similar,
yeah. The Muay Thai is very straight up, but I like the aggression. Of Muay Thai fighters. I'm like, okay, I like this, you know.
I just learned to respect everyone.
Yeah. Fuck, you know some shit that I can't. You get your legs up where I can't.
Don't get me wrong. You could all beat my ass. Don't worry,
dude. Yeah, I'm just peace. You know what I'm saying? Peace. I'll fucking stand over here. You know what I'm saying? But
what I like most about training was you meet a lot of great people
from all different walks of life.
It's funny, like I didn't know how to explain to my family, like how, you know, Facebook was really big back in those days. Like, how do you have people sending you happy birthdays from like Australia and like Africa, and then like China? Like, I met them when we were training a bunch of Brazilians. Brazilians, you know. It's like you meet people from all over. Like that's amazing. Like someone said it. Like if everyone here, with all this bullshit we got going around, where so much racial tension, like if everyone here just treated it like a gym, we'd all be hugging.
Yeah, like I don't like that shit. That's the one thing that I fucking love about combat sports. That shit does not play no part. No. And anybody that brings it up doesn't really have any stance on it, because no matter what, they're still going out there and they're still banging. It has nothing to do with your ethnicity or your fucking, you know, like in certain, like, okay, I guess certain styles have certain characteristics, but you know, like coming from certain areas, but that's because of the style of that area.
You learn a lot from other people. You know, we'd have people, I think we had like a guy from like Russia or something, and he didn't know any, like we like even try to communicate with the person. You have to get to know the person. Like if you're training with them and their English isn't that good or anywhere, like you're gonna find a way to communicate with that person. So you're gonna have to find some type of bond, you know, to be able to train together. Whether it's a whole session, you got to find some sort of communication.
Yeah. And I think that teaches people so much, like body language, communicating through non-verbal means, I think is really a really important skill, because not a lot of people do that now at all. And I didn't know, I had gone to Holland about 1.5 years ago, and everyone else spoke Dutch. The person that I went with spoke English and Dutch, but I didn't mind. I didn't mind everybody else speaking Dutch around me, because I know what they were saying. I just didn't know the words. I didn't know the exact makeup, but I could see people's body language, reading their face, their tone. It's the same. It's just the words are a little bit different, you know, but you can read the vibe of the room, you
No,
know what's going
absolutely. Yeah,
on, you
yeah,
know?
no.
And like fighting, especially like stuff like this, like jujitsu or like anything like grappling, clinching, like that's a very intimate
Yes.
experience. And
Yes.
people really express themselves through their fighting. Like when I watch people fight, you can gauge who they are kind of if they have enough time to show you a little bit, you know, it's not like a 2 second stoppage or whatever. You can, I don't know, I feel like I can get to know somebody by the way that they come out, their style, you know, the decisions that they choose to make, the heart that they show. Like you can really get to know somebody that way, and you can tell when someone's special, when someone has something different, or when it's just like, oh, okay, it's just like a regular
No, yeah,
expression,
yeah.
you
No,
know?
you're absolutely right. I mean, it took for me personally, it took me a while. It took me like a year or two before I
You
actually,
trained everything. You started like at a mixed martial arts gym
yeah,
where they
Black
had,
House.
oh,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So
But
they have everything.
it took me like a year or two before actually hitting the mats in jiu-jitsu because,
Yeah.
like you said, it's so intimate. I didn't know how I
Bro,
felt.
I still haven't done it yet. I
I
haven't
didn't
paid
know.
money.
I don't know how I felt about having
Mm-hmm.
another fucking sweaty man on top of me. You
Yeah.
know, it's like fuck. That was the hardest
Yeah,
thing to
there's
get.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the hard. Jiu-jitsu, my for me was the hardest part was the mental side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Having someone fucking sweating on top
Mm-hmm.
of me.
And being uncomfortable. That's like
Yes,
the most uncomfortable one could be.
I hated it. I hate fucking having
Yeah.
someone's ass hitting my like.
And
"Ugh,
you gotta stay there
get
and
the
shake
fuck
because you're
off,
wrapped
you
up
know?
like a pretzel. You're like, God
Yes,
damn it.
like so. For me, I loved Muay Thai. I was like, yeah, fuck
Yeah.
it, we'll just stand and bang, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get someone that's on top of you and just their sweat dripping on you. I'm like, oh god.
It's I don't know. I can only imagine how that is, you know. But I gotta try it. I'm going to try it. I gotta try it. I wanted to like explore more of each. Like right when COVID hit, I was going to more like jujitsu tournaments, getting to know more jujitsu people, and like I was gonna dive up in there, and then the thing happened. I was like, ugh, excuse. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go this
Yeah.
way. But it's an interesting thing because it has its own culture in a way, obviously deep-seated culture, you know, relationship with MMA, but it's like if you don't understand that, if someone comes from a jiu-jitsu background and you don't understand the culture in which this person is cultivated, I'm like, damn, I really don't know anything about that, you
Yeah.
know?
So for me, it was uncomfortable training with guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're like someone told me, "Oh, just training with the girls." Like you don't. I was like, "No,
Mm.
I hated
Yeah.
training with the girls. I hated it because
You're like, let me just get in your
it's
guard.
so no, it's so physical
Oh yeah.
that
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you have to touch them
It's a little uncomfortable.
and yeah,
Yeah.
and you know, having sometimes where you're touching something and
Mm-hmm.
it's not on purpose, and I'd be like, "Oh
Mm-hmm.
shit, I'm sorry," and I just pull away and just lose position.
And they're like, bitch, I'm gonna choke you.
Yeah, yeah, it was like lose
Right
position.
then.
I'm like, but it's not. You're not doing it on purpose. You know,
Yeah.
I would try to avoid training with any girl to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, I don't want to touch them. I know it's the body by body.
It's already
but
uncomfortable as it is.
yes,
Let me just
so
do this first, and you know what I'm
yeah, and
saying?
then
Then move to that later. We'll
but
think of
yeah,
that later.
definitely,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's not
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah. And especially because, I don't know, I think too, like, knowing the thought of knowing that, okay, if I, you know, when I go to jujitsu or when I go to these things, right? When I go to class, I'm going to get subbed all the time. You know what I'm saying? And knowing that, it's like, okay, that's cool. But, you know, I think that's the part that I kind of avoid. Plus the like the rolling around. But I do want to learn it. It's very interesting to me. And I feel like it's very important to understand position. And like I know, but it's different than doing it. Like I feel like when I was like kind of like involved in the boxing side, I was taking boxing at the same time. It's like I'm athletic, I can do it, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I might as well learn, and that teaches you so much about what's possible, what the skill level difference is, like how hard something is. It really puts it in perspective.
So it's funny you say that because for me, it's all about like what's the worst thing that could happen to you during a jiu-jitsu class. You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
getting choked out,
Yeah.
like passing out. So for me, it was like I didn't have, I wasn't afraid of getting choked out, but I just want to know what the feeling was.
Yeah.
So I told my jiu-jitsu coach, I was like, you know what? After class, I was like, I want you to choke me out, dude, till I pass out.
Yeah, yeah. See
And
what
he
it's
looks
like.
at me like, are you crazy? And I was like, no, dude. Like, I know that it's a potential that one day it could
Mhm.
happen, So I need to know what it feels like, you know?
Mhm.
So I know what to expect. And my stand-up coach jumps in. He says, "Hell no." He says, "I've been building you for this long. If anyone's gonna choke you out, it's me."
There you
So I was
go.
like, all right, cool. We sat down on the mat, and I was like, "Just so you know, you have my permission. If I tap out, just keep going until I pass
Yeah.
out." He says, "You sure?" I was like, "Yes, 100% positive." I was like, "I need to know what this feeling is."
Yeah.
So we did it. And yeah, your first instinct is tap out, but I
Mhm.
had already told him, "Don't let me go."
Mm.
So I passed out.
Yeah. I heard it's like a revitalizing feeling.
It's quick. It's super quick because he felt me pass out, and
Yeah.
plus, because it was all eyes on me doing it,
Yeah.
like they knew when I had passed out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, "All right, let him go." Boom.
Yeah.
So I felt like I hit. And it's like one of those days where you're like super tired and just kind of waking up, and
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
Because maybe because I was released so quickly, but it wasn't as bad as.
I mean, but some people say they obviously not in like a fight situation, but I mean, like some people say it's like rejuvenating, like you're waking up from a long, I don't know, or you feel good, kind
I
of.
guess everyone's different. I've heard.
You're like, I feel like shit. I
I've
felt
seen
like
people that I've trained with that
hmm
just don't want to tap. Like they
Yeah,
have
yeah,
that
yeah,
ego in them that doesn't allow them to tap, and they're like snoring. I've heard people snoring. I've heard people like moaning. When they're out,
yeah,
and it's like I guess everyone's different.
yeah.
Like
Oh, for sure, and I feel like that carries. You see that in the octagon too. You see people that aren't gonna tap. You're like, bro, he's gonna break his arm or he's gonna pass out. Like this fool's not gonna, And some people just have that in
yeah,
there.
I'll probably I think if I were in a fight, I'd
Stubborn
pass
as
out.
fuck. Yeah,
Like I'm not gonna tap. I'm gonna fight this until you.
yeah,
But if you grab my arm, I'm not gonna let you break my arm. I'll tap.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a big
Can't be
difference.
fucking around. I need
Yeah,
this shit.
right,
Yeah,
there's a big difference.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
whenever I was caught on bar, I knew it was over. I wouldn't
yeah.
even try to fight. I'd tap right away.
You need that
Yeah,
shit.
I was like, I tap.
You come back. You
Yeah,
get choked out.
yeah. As soon as I felt the arm bar like closing, I'm like, nope, I'm
Yeah.
tapping.
Some of those are gruesome, you're like, oh my God. It's especially crazy to watch like the women's fights because they tend to be a little bit more flexible
Yeah,
than men. So it's like, dude, your arm is like upside down and you're like trying to
I've
figure
seen
out like,
some
is your arm
crazy shit
like,
where I can't even. I close my eyes. I can't see it. Like,
dude,
whoa,
good
God.
God. It's not pleasant. But how'd you like get into that? You're just like, I'ma just go.
No, so I've always liked MMA since I was exposed to it on TV. So I always
Oh, so
wanted
you watch like the UFC, the older ones
Yeah,
or
yeah. So
one?
when I first saw it, I
Okay.
loved it. I mean, I would love to fight in school to begin with no training. I was
Oh.
always fighting, fighting, fighting. We'd fight a lot.
Button heads.
So when I saw it, it became like a sport, and then you see
Mhm.
these gyms popping up everywhere. I was like, cool,
Oh,
but it
nice.
never worked out
Yeah.
because my schedule and I was
Yeah.
always working, and the way MMA gyms are set, where it's like weird hours. For
Mhm.
me, I would say
Yeah, yeah,
it would never work out. So Black House worked out because I had a meat market that was just across the street from me
yeah.
when I was in
Nice.
Redondo Beach. So
Uh-huh.
I was there for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then I just, all I had to do was cross the street.
Oh my God,
And
that's
yeah,
perfect.
it was
Convenience is everything when doing something like this because
yes.
it's hard as it is, and getting there, you don't want to have to,
So I started doing 1 hour, which was my
Mhm.
stand up.
Mhm.
And I fell in love with it. And so then I'd close a little earlier to get 2 hours, the
Mhm.
jujitsu and stand up.
There you go.
And then I fell in love with it even more. So I'd go in the mornings to train
Mhm.
in the mornings. In the mornings, it was like mostly fighters, like
Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah. Like pros are
like
usually in the morning,
pros and
right?
amateurs. And I was just
Yeah.
like the guy. I was there, training.
Doing your shit.
I was like I was like probably the only guy, if not one of the only guys that wasn't an actual fighter training with them.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it, I'd get beat up left and right.
Mhm.
Everybody slammed me and
Hmm.
just get beat up. But I was like, for me, it was like, fuck, this is cool. It's like
Yeah.
a cool
This is a
workout.
real deal
Yeah,
too.
this
It's
is it.
not,
Yeah.
it's not no fitness
Yeah,
class or some
no,
people
no,
that
no.
do it for that,
I
you
can't do
know?
regular gyms. Like the
Yeah.
whole workout thing, routine, I can't do it. It's
It's
boring to me. For
yeah,
me,
it's
it's
boring
boring. For
shit.
me.
Yeah.
And but you go to a martial arts class. It's like
Mhm.
you think it's boring. You try to go to sleep. someone's gonna kick you or punch you.
Yeah.
Like, so it's
Well, it's
cool.
like, yeah, it's like it's cool shit, and it's also, keeps you engaged. There's a purpose to it,
Yeah,
and you can always get better. Like
yeah,
I like things that are like that. I don't
yeah,
like, well, okay, well, what do I do now? I don't
yeah.
like that. I don't like that at all. But yeah, I need to find a place to go. I still haven't figured that out yet, but I will.
Well, you gotta do the Khabib training. You're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Train with your horse or
Wrestling
something.
bobcats and shit in the country. Dude, it's so interesting like living out there like out here it's like, dude, if you walk outside your door, you know what I'm saying? Like you have like lights and shit. You could walk down the street or something, and maybe some areas maybe not don't do that, but where I am, it's like, dude, if I go outside my door, I may not come back. That's a legit thing. There are things out there that see me and I can't see them,
And your prey,
that
your
will
food.
legit fuck me up. Like that is not a joke. That is not a joke. Like, I don't know. Nothing has ever happened. Like I haven't even seen like I saw this like baby bobcat that looked like it was crossbred with the cat. Like this cat that used to fuck with my cat and just fuck my screens up. I was like, bitch, go away. And all of a sudden they disappeared.
But I
That
think
cat
mountain
disappeared.
lions are pretty common where you're at.
Yes, they are. They definitely are. And like where I run too, there's a certain part where it's like on the trail, there's like sides, or like there's one side here and then it drops off, but then it turns up into the mountains and everything comes up high. So I run like right in the middle because it's like something can jump up from up high and jump down on me most of the
I mean, the
way.
only thing I think where you're at, because I grew up going down there. I think I
Mm-hmm.
had told you this before.
Yeah.
Probably rattlesnakes and mountain lions,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think bears are common there.
No, no. Rattlesnakes are common. Like my landlord doesn't let me like cut around my house. She has someone do that because there's like rattlesnakes. But to be honest, I've like never seen a snake. I've only seen a coyote. Like I've seen
Coyotes,
a
yeah,
few
coyotes are common.
coyotes and like run across. But usually she said the rule is like 8 to 8 or whatever. Like don't 8 to 8. That's the time. So like don't like go out early in the morning or like late at night. So usually if I run it's like in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I'd wait for like the hottest time and then go during
The
summer.
hottest is where you're gonna get your rattlesnakes.
Yeah. But okay, because I can't like zone out. That's the problem. Sometimes I'll zone out and run by the edge. I'm like, no, 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 run in the middle. So then I don't know. But usually I don't see any. I'll see little like slither tracks. I'm like, oh, there
I
goes
used
something.
to we used to kill them when I was a kid. When we
Damn.
would go up there, my uncle had the guy that would take care of his ranch would
Mhm.
he'd make belts out of them.
Well,
So yeah, that was pretty cool.
excuse me. Yeah, I mean, they're like an infestation some places. Like they're fucking everywhere in some places, and then other places it's like not so much.
Well, the only thing I think that probably there's a lot of,
Hmm.
but I mean they're not bad. It's those rabbits, those little jackrabbits.
Oh my god, yeah. There's a lot of rabbits where I am. There's a lot of rabbits in San Juan too. That'd be fucking spooking the horses. I had this kid in a lesson the other day, and it was like nighttime, and I see this bunny fucking running, and I was like, "Don't you dare scare that horse!" Like I said it out loud. He fucking sees it, takes off, bucks. I was like, sit up, please stay on, please stay on. It's like nighttime. She's like turns around, she's like laughing. I was like, thank God you have a good attitude about this. But they be fucking my day up sometimes. I'm like,
Yeah.
can't be doing that. Can't be risky at all. It's crazy. I don't know. Things get weird when it starts raining. I don't know. At least with the horses, like when we get like that or like the wind, that wind is no good.
Yeah, no,
It's kind of windy here.
it's windy right now.
Yeah, no joke whatsoever. But damn. Well, where can people find you on social media?
La Perla Tapatia Meat Market
Okay.
and that Mexican guy catering service.
Okay, and that's both on Instagram
And
Okay.
Facebook.
and Facebook. Okay. Well, there you have it, folks. We're gonna get out of here. We're gonna do something else. There's a part 2 to this segment, so fucking stay tuned. Boom. Okay, hopefully